I know you guys have been kind of looking for this for a while. How's it feel when you put it all together like that, and what does it tell you about the potential of this group?
We got a lot of potential. We played really well, just all cylinders. Run game, pass game, third downs, base downs. We played well in the red zone, scored points. I think only one field goal, but we played well when we needed to. Our defense played well, got us the ball back a lot, and just overall really good performance by us.
Yeah, Bo, one of your better games came after the rough start with the pick. What is your process in just overcoming mentally when things aren't so good and bouncing right back?
You just owe it to the team. You can't go in a shell the rest of the game. That's not going to do anybody any good, including myself. Definitely was, not happy about it. But what can I do? Go back and change it. Got to move forward. Can only change the future and go make plays, in front of me, and that's what we did.
Bo, Wednesday you talked about wanting to translate Wednesday's practice to Sunday. Riley said that this win started on Wednesday and that it was the best week of practice in the 3 years since he's been here. Would you echo that it felt like that good of a week of practice?
Yeah, Coach liked our week of practice. We all thought the urgency was up and, got to go stack weeks and, have a similar vibe this week and make sure that we're practicing hard Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday so that we can come out here and, do that performance over and over. And, it's tough when you get, later in the season, bodies get more sore, get banged up. It's tough to stay mentally sharp and mentally tough enough to do it over and over. But, we got good leadership, and that's what we got to do again.
Hey, Bo, big performance by a couple of rookies on offense today. What does that say about sort of their development and how much more dangerous the offense can be when they're involved?
Yeah, great question. I thought, we're to the point, Pat has played, some good snaps. He's learning. He's getting, better and better each week. RJ, same thing, playing, in different roles, playing more and more. And those guys are starting to just find a good rhythm, understanding more and more and knowing more of what they can do. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the work that they're putting in. They're practicing hard. They show up to work. They're great teammates, great team players in the locker room, very humble guys, and just want to make the next play. For Pat, it's his blocking that transitions into his pass catching, and for RJ, it's his route running and ability to get out there and be more dynamic than just a runner, and that's how he's getting his touches. But really good explosive touchdown by him early today, and just proud of those guys. And same for, you can say about a lot of our guys. A lot of our first and second year guys are playing really well, and then it allows Cortland and Evan to take some of the pressure off them. And when they want to take them, put the focal point on them, take them out of the game, the other guys are stepping up and making plays. So it's really good.
Oh, you had such a terrific rookie season. It raised expectations. This season, you had some highs, the incredible highs, and some weird stretches with the offense. Do you ever feel like you got to prove it to anyone? Is it to your teammates, to your coach? Where does that, I guess, fall at this point in your career, midway through your second season?
I'm glad you asked that. The theme today that I kept saying over and over, I'm fortunate I get to be vocal in a lot of different situations, whether it's pre-game, getting the receivers and skill guys up, getting to talk to them, whether it's, before we go out there talking to the team, whether it's, pre-game prayer. I, really was focusing on, not worrying about what other people think, not worrying about proving it to this, not worrying about proving it to, my family, my friends, not really even the team. I go out there each and every day, play for an audience of one. I feel like I'm in a great spot. Jesus has given me this ability to go out there and do what I'm passionate about, and really grateful for that. And it's salvation belongs to Him, and so I don't have to go around worrying about what other people think. Doing this for a reporter or a stat or a player or a game or anything, an opponent. I can just go out there and be me and just focus on, my abilities and what I can do to get better and how I can honor the Lord with my platform. And over and over and over, we just reminded the guys today that, you're playing for an audience of one. It doesn't matter what other people think. You've already won. Salvation belongs to the Lord. And I'm, when this silly life is done and the game of football is over, I'm going to heaven. And I feel very confident in that.
So that brings you peace, your conviction and belief brings you peace out here?
Yeah, I'm playing with great peace because I know that no matter what happens, I'm in great hands, and the sun's going to come up tomorrow, whether I have a great game or whether I have a bad game, and the sun's going to come up the next day and over, and the Lord's still going to be sitting on the throne, and there's nothing for us to worry about.
Bo, to your left. Obviously, Harvey, Franklin, those guys made the plays, but the offensive line, Sean said he felt like you guys kind of dominated up front.
Yeah.
Just what can you say about what those guys were able to do today?
Well, they did. When you run for that much and you run, it felt like we had quick drives. I don't think our time of possession was even very high. It's just we moved it, and we got down there and scored quick, and it wasn't like we had long play after play drives. We just got going early, ran the ball really well. Man, those guys are doing a great job at the point of attack right now. We're running at people, and we're just doing a good job of getting a hat on a hat, and our backs are doing a great job of making guys miss when there's an extra guy, and we're making explosive runs. And that was the biggest thing for today is early on we were able to run, 8, 9, 10 yards a carry, and I know that's probably not the statistic, but when you're doing that every once in a while on a drive, it changes things.
Oh, to your right. Along those lines, a lot of talk this week was about Javonte Williams coming back here, but J.K. Dobbins had his second 100-yard game. What has he brought on the field and then also off the field in a leadership standpoint?
Well, first, I'm proud of Javonte. He's doing a great job this season. He was a great teammate of mine, especially year one. He helped me a lot in a lot of different situations. So I'm happy for him. He had a tough injury to overcome, and he seems to be doing really good right now. But J.K. also, we were fortunate to acquire him, and he hasn't skipped a beat. He's done exactly what J.K. does, and that's run very physical, very tough. I think the craziest thing about today is you see his rushing yards, and he goes for a lot. And, one of the big explosive touchdowns to Troy, he has to come across and pick up a linebacker, or pick up a safety. And, he's willing to do that. He sticks his face in there. He's not, a prima donna that's not worried about, getting hit or not want to protect or just wanting the football. He just does whatever the team needs him to do. And, I think that's just a representation of where we all are right now as a team. No matter what happens, we just want to make the right play and score touchdowns. And he was able, he allowed us to do a lot of that today by his rushing and by his protecting. So we scored a lot today because of guys like that.